Wait, do we have no sound? Can you test audio?
Oh yeah, no sound.
Oh my God, this is just this. Mic check, guys. Can you hear us now? I just made like 3 jokes. Mike made like
working?
4.
Yeah.
Do we actually?
I used all my money
It's
jokes.
gone. It's gone.
Oh, there we go.
Okay, you got sound now?
Now
There we go.
Do I have to turn this off? I better turn that
Yeah, so you go silent there. Works now. All right, there it is. Tyrone, what's up? Robin, what's up? Bert, what's up? Adrian, what's up? I can hear you fine too, Adrian. Steven says, no audio, yo. Well, Steven, can you hear us? You said it's Cooch. What's up? Check, baby, check. Robin says, now it's on like Parmesan. Let's go. So here's the truth of what happened is Mike and I are going to be doing, what's a webinar together next week?
Yeah.
We're going to do a webinar together. Something like that. We're going to do something. And then we figured it'd be good to kind of go live, and he was around. He decided to drive down and stop by the studio, which is awesome. And I said, why don't we just go live to my audience and let's just...
Here we are.
Yeah, here we are. So this is very unscripted, unplanned. I said, let's just kind of let our people know, and let's just see if we can teach something that's worthwhile.
I mean, that's the cool thing about Facebook Live, right? You just jump right on. We got, I mean, look at this, Chris from Cancun.
What's up,
join
Chris?
us. That's so cool. Yeah, that's the beauty of Facebook Live. You just jump on, and we got all these people.
First of all, I'm mad we didn't get
here.
an invite to Cancun.
I know, right?
And we're sitting here in San Diego where it's raining.
Or
It
it's
doesn't even rain.
raining.
It's not even supposed to rain here. Gosh.
It's our 1 week out of the year we get to complain about the weather.
Okay, so check it out. For those of you who don't know my good friend Mike Cooch, you're missing out. I'll tell you guys this, and this is like no hype, no anything, but like out of every single... When I came into internet marketing, I freaking hate the term, internet marketing, I've always stood like way on the outskirts of like, I didn't really follow anyone because I thought it was a lot of bullshit and hype.
Yeah. Which
is true, right?
Yeah.
And then you guys, Mike and I met each other through a mastermind a year and a half ago or something like that.
Yep.
Through Mario Brown, if you guys know who he is, another guy who's actually legit. And we started chatting. There was a lot of synergy. But anyways, I tell this story, but I'll tell it again for those of you who don't know. I went up and I met with Mike and one of his partners, Josh. And I sat in their office for about an hour and a half, that time or so. Mm-hmm. I learned more about business in that hour and a half, and this is gonna sound bold and crazy, than I did my entire college career. Now that's for a couple reasons. Number one, because they're that good. Number two, I didn't really show up to class that much. I mean, there's a combination there. So like, I think that's it. Yeah. But I'm telling you guys, like, I cannot stress enough, like, real deal, like, and so he's here right now in the flesh. Can you kind of give everyone like your background and like your story?
Yeah, well, first I gotta say, you know, the cool thing about the timing of that particular meeting is you came right at the right time where our experience, I think, could help. You know what I mean? Because lots of times people come to you, and you want to help them, you're trying to help them, and you know, you're trying to share experience that you had, but there's like not perfect alignment with where they're at in their experiences and where you've been in your experiences. And you were right at that right point where you're growing like crazy. You know, you've got a model that is clearly working. You're bringing in clients, bringing in revenue, bringing on employees. And we had gone through all of that before and experienced just kind of the stresses that creates. And, you know, and had worked through that in a very, very similar business, in a service business. So that was awesome.
And it was like, these guys went like, and I'm sure you guys know, entrepreneurship is always the loneliest sport in the world. But how many times do you guys freeze up because you feel like you have this idea or this plan, but there's no way to validate it? Like, you know what I mean? And that's how I felt like when I met you guys, is like, okay, here we are, we're growing. But what took us from, you know, to 7 figures doesn't take us to 8 figures. Right. You know, so like, and I'm noticing like, who am I going to hire? Is it supposed to be contract? Is it supposed to be part-time? Like, how do you motivate? Like, there were so many things, and I was like, who do I ask for? And then I stumbled upon these guys, and you know, the rest, the rest awesome. Is that.
Yeah. Oh, look at that, Sarah Cooch.
Hey,
what's up?
I know her.
How you doing? That's awesome. That's my lovely wife. Everybody say hi.
Hey.
Yeah, so my background, you know, it is in similar businesses to what you've been doing in terms of we've had service companies selling to small local businesses selling to specific niches in the small business community, you know, charging a recurring monthly fee, providing a service, you know, all that type of stuff. So very, very similar structures. We did that in IT services first, and that was our biggest success. And it was a company we grew and sold. And then we did that in agency services and software.
I'm going to ask a great question. What does it feel like to sell a company?
Feels good.
I've never done that before.
Yeah, it feels good. It feels good, and I'll be honest, it's also got its downsides. It's weird. I mean, when you're an entrepreneur and when you've been building something, you know, I was, you know, 8 years into it or whatever. When you've been building something that long and you put so much into it, it's your baby. Yeah. And then all of a sudden you wake up one day and it's not yours anymore. And all of a sudden, I mean, seriously, as an entrepreneur, you've got all of these weird, like, you know, identity issues. Like, well, wait a minute, you know, I was the man, you know, running that big company, and now that's not mine anymore. And, you know, what do I do next? And, you know, in almost all situations, when somebody buys your company, especially if it's a service business, they're going to want you to come to work there for a while. You know, and so you've got this situation now.
So did you guys do that? Is that how you laid it out? Is okay?
We did. I specifically, because I knew that was probably not going to work for me, I specifically had an agreement where I didn't have to stay with the company. And that was a smart thing for me because it did not work out, and it was very evident very quickly. Yeah. But yeah, so it's, you know, it's got its ups and downs. I've always said, even before that experience, I said, you know, the worst thing that could happen to me as an entrepreneur is if you like just kind of took me out of the game and I didn't have anything to do. Yeah. Because we just, you know, you always want to be hustling and moving, and, you know, entrepreneurs have a million ideas coming through their heads every day. And if you don't have an outlet for that, then that, you know, that can feel a little like, wait a minute, what, you know, somebody just, you know, chopped my leg off or something like that.
Does part of you regret it at all?
No, not at all. Not one bit. Not one bit. I was ready to be done with that business. In fact, if you'd have said you could have gotten out 3 years before, I would have.
Wow.
Yeah.
Why is that? So, like, actually, I'll ask this, and especially for our audience, a lot of marketers, etc. How did you, I guess, why? Like, so for example, like a lot of people ask, like, you know, Billy, like, why do you teach? Why do you do everything? Why not just do the agency, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera? Like, what was it for you guys that made you say, eh?
Yeah, well, so, like, I know for you, I mean, you go where your passion takes you, goes where your energy takes you, and you are very blessed now to be able to do that, right? I mean, you've got an extraordinary team of people, you've got some resources, you've got these successes, and you get to create your agenda every day to some degree or another, right? When a company gets to a certain point, you know, if you're going to continue growing that company, there's operational maturity that has to set in. You can't just zig and zag. Yeah. You know, you're no longer trying to create a new thing every day. It's, hey, we're just trying to operate this thing better every day.
That's exactly what I said.
And you know, some personalities don't like that. You know, that's a different kind of skill set and stuff like that. But for me, the big issue was the actual work that we were doing, IT services, IT management. It had zero interest for me. Like internet marketing, I wake up every day and I'm like, oh man, it's so, you know, that's so badass. Facebook just rolled out a new thing, and now we can connect with people this way, and, you know, we can do this live, and we can have these videos going on, that type of stuff. Like, it's amazing to me. Like, I love this stuff. IT services was about as boring as you could get, right?
I give you that.
And people did not want to hear from you or talk with you. You were doing something that was, it was a pain for them, and they just wanted it to work, and they just wanted you to go away. Yeah. Right? And that wasn't fun. It wasn't. I knew it was something I didn't want to spend, you know, more years of my life investing in. So the question
is, why'd you go into that in the first place?
I went into it in the first place because, I mean, part of it just, I was living out in Silicon Valley. I got a job in that industry right out of college, got my feet wet in it, and immediately within 6 months of being at this company, I was like, well, it should be done a different way. And like entrepreneurs do, I just got obsessed with that idea. I got obsessed with it should be done a different way. And we did it. Yeah, you know, we launched a totally different model, totally different approach in the industry. Everybody said we were nuts when we did it. You know, I can remember the first industry conference, I got pulled out of the crowd onto the stage by the guy running the conference. He was like, is Mike Cooch from ever on here? And I was like, Like this, like what, what's going on? And he's like, what are you guys doing? It's like, you guys are screwing everything up. Like you can't run their business that way. Yeah. He's like, that's messing it up for everybody. Like you can't, change your pricing that way. And I was just like, well, I think we're onto something. It seems to be working. So, and it did. And so I was obsessed with that idea. I mean, any entrepreneur, you get obsessed with this thing you're trying to do that's unique or different or whatever, or better. And so that was it. I mean, that pulled me into it.
Dude, that's impressive. Like, I think about the last 3-4 years, and that's what it's really been for me, from like the point of being at my mother's house, like creating all of this, to now, and just how every single day I wake up feeling stupider in a good way. But I just realized how much I really don't know. Right? Like so much is changing, like going from 17 employees, like 34, like it's a new challenge I've never faced. And granted I have new skills, but at the same time I need even better ones. And then on top of that, you talk about all the changes Facebook's making, etc.
Well, exactly,
it's like, dude, just to be good at what we're doing, we had to simplify the business and really focus on 2 core things.
And I think it takes, I mean, one, if I can say some nice things about you, I love, no, but I've really enjoyed watching you, because you're one of those rare people that when you say, hey, Billie Jean, I really think that you should do it this way, based on my experience, I really think that you should give this a shot. And then like 36 hours later, you're sending me like, hey, I launched the whole damn thing. Is this right? Because I'm going live with it. And you're like, whoa, like, you take action on things. You're one of the fastest, I think, implementers that I know. I mean, it's like we go and have a mastermind meeting, and it's the next day I see ads, and I'm like, wait a minute, we just talked about that yesterday. And he's like, I'm doing it.
And I think the team hates me for it sometimes, because literally, you guys see our crazy videos. I mean, it starts at like, I came in this morning and I said, all right, here it is. This is what we're doing. Internet marketing. They're like, oh great, when are we shooting this one? Wednesday, done. Like, it's just, I want to fail fast if I fail. And I think that's the biggest thing that I stick to. Like, it doesn't work, like, let's find out. Because the one thing that I've learned in business, and everybody knows this because this is life, is that expenses are always, in sales comes in waves.
Right.
And I'm just like, so if I'm not making sales, if this experiment doesn't work, it doesn't matter, because the bill collectors are still going to be there.
So make the money.
That's right, man. Well, what's up, guys? You're here right now. What is up? Rob Bailey's here. It says 2 of the smartest marketers on the road in this video, bar none. Thanks, Rob.
More people say stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly. Continue. But do you guys have any questions? We're just kind of open dialoguing here. And so me and Mike will kind of play off each other. But if you're hanging out with us right now, I know this is kind of last minute, and we just kind of let you know, and you have some questions about anything. I mean, especially with a local business and getting results, like, that's my expertise. That's Mike's expertise. That's like the world that we live in every single day. I know he's taught thousands of people. It's like his methods, same here. So like, pick our brains. You know what I mean? Pick our brains.
I think, there's, I think that there's some cool stuff that we can just kind of touch on. Facebook. I mean, I hope everybody right now is just so excited to be, one, learning from Billie Jean and his team. And by the way, if you guys are ever in San Diego, you got to stop by this place. It's cool.
You're not invited. You see that. People do that. People do that. Just appointment only. Email us.
No, he said anytime is fine. Just walk in, you and a few of your friends. This place is cool. I hope everybody out there that's tuning into this, I hope that you're excited to be learning from Billie Jean, and I hope that you're excited just about Facebook and marketing. Online marketing in general is just so crazy. It's so cool right now, this opportunity that we have to connect with people anywhere around the world, spending $5 within a few minutes. Like you said, you can walk into this office, fire up the camera, and be like, hey everybody, here's what I'm gonna say, boom, boom, boom. And within 10, 15 minutes later, somebody across the world is hearing your message. And if that doesn't fire you up as an entrepreneur, then there's something wrong, right?
I have a fun format for this. Just thought of it right now. So I think what would be cool is if we'll just go back and forth. So I'll kind of throw out a best tip for local marketing that I know is happening right now, and then you can kind of do that too. We can just kind of play off each other.
I like it. That's
All
cool.
right, I'm gonna make you start. Go ahead.
All right. I think right now, so Rob Bailey asked the question, what's the biggest thing most aren't focusing on now that they should be?
So that we got the missuses online too.
Nice. Hello.
Hey.
So Rob, I think that's an excellent question. To me right now, and I had this epiphany, Josh and I had it, Josh is my business partner, everybody. I had this epiphany with him just like about 4 months ago or so, as we were kind of coming into Q4, that we have been so obsessively focused on direct response marketing because you can do that, right? With online marketing, you can measure everything instantaneously. You can see, did I get that ROI? And I give a lot of credit to Gary Vee. The brilliance of Gary Vee is that he is showing everybody the value of, guys, just do this. Just put out content. Just be real, put out content, show that you care, share what you're learning, share your experiences, and don't worry about, did you sell something that day, right? And you're filling up the bank, right? You're filling up your bank account so that you can go and make withdrawals later. And in local marketing, Rob, back to your question, in local marketing, I think that is really missing right now. And in our experience, we just had that epiphany and we've really started investing in that. And the things that we're seeing with just putting out good content, not worrying about is there an offer at the end of it, not worrying about if it leads to an immediate sale, but building up that equity value over time, I think is what people need to be focusing on.
And I will piggyback right into my tip because it kind of marries perfectly there. I'll tell all of you guys watching, hands down, at least what I can attest that's worked the most for us and our clients though. And some of you have heard me say it before, but I really want to dive in because I don't think you're hearing me and I don't think you're believing, and it's going to cost you your entire business. If you don't use video in your if you don't use video, if you don't use it, I'm talking like abuse it, you're going to go out of business. And I don't mean that in an asshole-ish way. Just think about it. Let me give you like a very technical, like right now, why it matters type of way. 2 dentists, dentist A, dentist B. You go to one's website, it's pictures and photo stock shit that you could find anywhere on Google. You go to another one, it's a video of the team, of the people, of the staff, of the environment. Who wins that battle every single time? Video. Absolutely. Every single time. You don't even have to be good, just be real. And so for those of you who are like, oh man, I can't be on video, I don't have personality, I'm not charismatic, things like that, I have the best advice ever for you. Get the fuck over it. It's just the truth. I cannot stress it to you guys enough. Just get over and start practicing. Because if you don't, your business is going to drown. And what's amazing, going with what Mike was saying, if you just put out consistent videos, every single day, if you never ask for one sale, I can promise you people will ask to give you money.
Absolutely.
Happens like clockwork. I mean, we can hang up this live stream right now and somebody will message and say, hey, I was wondering if you have blank, blank, and blank. Once you can show that you have expertise, and then I'm gonna take the second one too. Get good at something. So if you're like, what do I talk about?
Wait. Did you just go out of turn?
I did. I went out of turn because I had to interject. Too many times we have people who are trying to teach something, but you don't know anything. So what that should be to you is a big kind of like self-reflection moment of, guess what? You got to hit the books. You got to do trainings. You got to experiment more.
Absolutely.
Period. If you don't have things that, I can literally ask Mike about any subject. He can probably talk about that subject for the rest of 2017 because there's so much to go into to get, to master something. And I think that's what happens in internet marketing world is it's the land of people looking for shortcuts. And there's not. You got to learn this stuff. You got to experience it, etc. Someone's got a question. For local businesses, do you focus on one or multiple niches at a time? I'll let you go.
My answer to that is always focus on one at a time. I mean, until you have crushed it in that particular niche and you've got a process, you've got a team around it so that you can then take your full energy and the required resources to go into another niche, you pick one and you stick with it. And everything is easier. I stress this all the time. I just had a video out over the last few days talking about this. When you pick a particular niche, your marketing gets focused. Your service offering gets focused, your operations get focused, the value that you can provide gets clear, gets solid, right? And then the amazing thing about it is that then you can tap into channels, right? What I call channels. So if you're going after dentists, well, there's the American Dental Association. When you have everything dialed in for dentists, you can promote through that channel using the American Dental Association, their lists, their trade shows, so that you can reach a huge number of people in that market all at one time, right? And everything works better. Everything becomes easier. I wish, that's something I just wish, hey Tom, I wish that I knew at the very beginning of my career, because it makes everything so much easier. It works so much better.
And you know what's funny? First of all, everything Mike said, you can get me close up here. Everything Mike just said is 1,000% true. You've heard it echoed here a million times if you've been following with us for any amount of time. But here's what I'll tell you, you excuse makers, you. Yeah, you know it's me. I'm going to have to call you out. I get this question more than anything, and I think I get it more than anyone on the planet. Billy, I'm focused on one niche, but that niche doesn't work. They don't want to pay enough. They're too hard. There's too many no's, et cetera, et cetera. I have the honest to God's truth for you. That's every niche. That's business.
Yeah.
Just think about it from a statistic standpoint. If you're a numbers person, not like me, is this. Majority of businesses fail. Let me say it again. Majority of businesses fail. Therefore, your chances of finding a business owner who sucks is likely and probable. So as much time as you spend in running your business, spend that much amount of time and effort into choosing your clients and watch your bank account go up.
I think that's such important advice. So when we started Everon, we were about a year into it. We were broke. I mean, there was, we were bringing in revenue, but it was going out the other end just as fast because everything in the business was still a mess. And I'll never forget, Josh and I, we were at the bar in Boston, this little downstairs basement level pub, we went into after work and tied a few on, and we were like so frustrated because it wasn't working. We had that conversation. We were like, look, what's going wrong? And I was like, I know I'm out selling my tail off, and I know you're working your tail off to take care of our clients. And I was like, what's wrong? He's like, well, we have shit clients. And I was like, well, what do you mean? And I was like, they're cheap. They don't want our help. And I was like, man, you know what? And we know it. Like, we know right away when we're talking to somebody if they're a good client for us or not.
By the questions that they ask.
By the questions that they ask, by the questions that we ask and how they respond to them, right? We know. But we're so desperate for business that we say yes even when we know it's not a fit because we can't turn down the money, right? And so that day, we were just like, you know what? We're about to go broke. So we might as well go broke trying it this way and at least say we gave it a shot, right? So after that, we just said, we're not taking any new clients on unless, we know that we can have a good, authentic conversation with them, that they value our services and that we can provide value to them. Otherwise, we're going to say, nope, sorry, we have to politely excuse ourselves from this thing. There's something that's not going to work.
Yep.
And that made all the difference in the world because you know what? Whatever market that you're talking about out there, whatever vertical that you're talking about, there are good clients who want to pay you good money to do an excellent job for them because they don't want to do it themselves. They can't do it themselves, but their business is actually doing pretty well. They've got money. They will pay good vendors.
Yep.
But a lot of times it's you that are sabotaging yourself. You are sabotaging yourself because you are not being willing to identify what's a great client, and you're not willing to walk away when it's not. Yep. And that's the hardest thing to do when you're in a bad situation.
It right there is you're not willing to walk away when it's not, because I think everybody here knows when they have a bad client, right? And then they start to rationalize and tell themselves, well, they're not that bad because of this, because they want to justify the cash. But the truth is when you go into sign up to be an entrepreneur, you have to accept the fact that you are going to lose money and be broke. I mean, go to any entrepreneur story. There's always that sad time where you didn't have anything. It's not a sad time. It's a part of the process. Yeah. And it's just what it is. And it's also very temporary. Don't forget it. Let's take some Q&A. And by the way, guys, if you can do me a favor, or I'm going to turn this thing off right now, go ahead and share this. Share, like it. I always forget to do that. And make sure you're getting notified. If there's a get notifications button, click it so you know when we're live, and when we do random pop-up stuff like this and have a badass entrepreneur in here, you get the heads up. But go ahead and share it, or you're a bad person. Seriously, your credit score will go down 200 points if you don't share it. That's true.
Right. John Cohen, what's up? How you doing, man?
What's going on?
So back to ninja Facebook stuff that's happening, like things that we've learned. is I saw somebody was asking her what's the newest development in Facebook that you're excited about. And
Okay.
gosh, I don't know. There's so many of them.
my God.
First one, but I don't know how relevant it is to this audience, but I'm still excited about it. First one is that Facebook has really declared war on YouTube, right? So they are now letting you, they're going to start letting us put ads in the middle of videos that are showing on
Mike
Facebook.
actually told me about this, and I was like, wait, what?
So so if you are watching a video on Facebook now, there's going to be an ad in the middle of it, and the person who created that video is now going to get, I think it's 55% of the revenue that comes from those ad dollars. So now the people who are making money on YouTube by creating content, that's going to start now on Facebook in a real serious way, which creates, I mean, just insane opportunities. Yeah. So the one though that I'm really excited about that I think is really applicable to anybody doing local, whether it's for your clients or for you trying to sell more services, I think the messaging ads, so that somebody can start a message with you from your ad, I think is really cool, because the amazing thing about internet marketing is that, what has been the amazing thing is that we can turn on an ad and reach 10 bazillion people all across the world, right? But it's, for the most part, it's the same message to all 10 bazillion people, right? It's just done super efficiently. But now, with the start of something like message ads, you can start a one-on-one conversation with somebody in a really hyper-efficient way. Because normally getting a one-on-one conversation with a prospect,
especially in a world where everyone's running away from the phone.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's the hardest thing to do and the most expensive thing to do. To pick up the phone and cold call is painful.
Yeah.
Now you can run an ad that says, hey, press that button, and we can just start a little chat. You don't have to get on the phone with me yet. None of that. Just let's start a little chat. Let me answer your question.
I mean, someone asked about, like, a real estate agent. If you guys want to really simplify it, run a video advertisement, and on that video advertisement, have it be Messenger, where someone can literally click right away. So show a listing of one of your properties, do a video ad, and once they click, they're engaged in saying, hey, is that still available? Can you send me more information, etc. And these are strategies that we're talking about that you can literally spend $5 a day. And like, you guys, it's all synergistic. If you've noticed something about what Facebook's doing, not just declaring war on YouTube, but you guys, has anyone seen TV ads for Facebook lately? Type in the chat, if you've seen TV ads for Facebook lately, what have they been pushing? They're spending television dollars to freaking promote something. What is it? And I mean, they're doing it on prime time, like big stations. And I mean, you'll see it. Like, once I said this, you're gonna notice it all the time. But there's like a 12-second delay, so I'm just gonna tell you guys because I'm impatient. It's Facebook Live. They're running TV commercials to tell people to come live. Look at your favorite news station. Look at the way Donald just won the election. It's a live stream. So you guys, Facebook, they've kind of kept it under wraps. I'm just gonna make a guess here. But when you can start promoting people to come to your live events, and now you can kind of schedule times and do waiting rooms and all of that, and then check this out, and these are features that are already possible, you can advertise to people based on them commenting and sharing, etc. Now think about that. You run a live stream, you boost it to $10 to the people that you want it to see it the most. And then if they comment on it, you can send them a messenger advertisement that says, hey, did you like so-and-so? Let's chat. They click, and now you're engaged.
Yeah.
Real life tactical strategy you can use right now this second.
Yeah, it's killer. Yeah, I mean, Facebook Live is amazing. I mean, just look at the engagement. I mean, all the people.
Yeah.
That are
they
in
said
here commenting.
Videos, so you see it right there.
Yeah, live. Yeah. It's funny because I don't watch TV. So I wouldn't know. And I think that speaks to exactly what you're talking about, though.
It's nuts.
My kids, they don't watch TV. It was so funny. I remember like the first time they saw a commercial and they were like, "What's this?"
What's happening?
That's a commercial, and then when it was, I can't remember what TV show we were turning on live, and they were like, "Well, when can we go back and watch?" They didn't understand that it wasn't just on demand, that you can just pull it up at any time.
What is this commercial?
Yeah. So it's it's fascinating. But yeah, when you watch, especially what younger generations are doing, like it's all right here. Yep. It's all on this phone. It's all live, whether it's Facebook, YouTube, whatever it is. But more and more, of course, it's Facebook.
And I'll jump into that too and throw in listen, at the end of the day, businesses, no matter what business you're in, it's all the same, right? It's the same basic principles. But one important part of business is distribution. How do you get a hold of your customers when you want to speak to them, right? And so you have the classic one, email, which we both built businesses off of, right? That's fire. But think about open rates right now. Text messaging, guys. That's something that we're really focused on. So to give you an idea, we ran a webinar today. Okay, and I was teaching and I was promoting our course, Clicks and Customers 2.0, which is all this stuff we're talking about right now. If you guys want to learn, I mean, there literally will be no better place in the world to learn it than here. But anyways, during the webinar for the call to action, so we reached the most people, when I made the offer, we sent out an automated text message to all of the registrants. So right to their phone, not only are they seeing it on the screen, they can click one link and go into the checkout process. So there's a strategy you guys can use right now this second, is automated text messaging. So automated text messaging, voice drops, fucking live stream, it just all goes together. There's just exciting things happening. There's exciting things happening. And yes, I'm fired up right now. And yes, Kyle McCarthy, Antonio Brown did go live in the NFL locker room.
That's hilarious, yeah.
So
yeah, you're gonna see, oh man, you're gonna see a lot more of all that type of stuff. I mean, look, you can go live on Facebook, you can go live on Instagram, you can go live on YouTube, right? I mean, you can go live Snapchat, right? Like it's like everything's going. Yeah, there's live options everywhere. I mean, it's crazy.
Happening. Paul says, can both of you share your stories about your first 6 months / first year? Sure. You want to dive into that?
Yeah. So I'll start my first 6 months or first year as an entrepreneur, because this is where I really got my mindset as an entrepreneur. And Billy talked about like, hey, there are what will feel like bad times as an entrepreneur, but it's a part of the process. But it's interesting because my old business partner, he actually just called me right as we were starting this. He may be watching this, I don't know. But we were living in Silicon Valley, started a company with a small group of guys, did everything wrong in terms of, let's split the business equally because we're all partners, like all the things that you're not supposed to do. And two of us, after working our tails off, we're building up the business for a little while. We're starting to finally get some cash. We're all up to debt and up to our eyeballs in debt. I was about to get married. My wife, who's watching this now, will remember this very clearly. Yeah, very clearly. That two of us were off working for some clients, doing some work for some clients, and we went to go fill up the car with gas, use the company credit card, and it doesn't go through. And I'm like, well, there's tons of money in the bank. I'm like, what's going on? Like, of course it's going to go through. And I just had this sinking feeling. Turns out the other guys that we started with the company had walked into the bank and said, give us cashier's checks for the entire amount of the bank account. And the bank did. And they weren't even signers on the account. And the bank did. Split the entire account in two and gave it to each of them.
Is this serious?
This is serious. So we went to police.
Yeah,
we went to police. We went, hey Nick. We went to police. We went to lawyers. And it's so funny because this is Silicon Valley at the time, and I'll never forget. We were sitting at the police station. I think it was the police or it was a lawyer. I can't remember. But he brings out this big binder and goes boom, and he drops it on the table. And it's like a phone book, like a New York phone book, right? And he goes, these are all of the fraud and embezzlement cases in Silicon Valley that we have active open right now that are over $1 million. And I'm like, so you'll get to me sometime in the year 2050, right?
Wow.
So it was a tough, very tough, painful lesson, but it was a lesson. And it was so funny because my business partner.
What was the lesson?
Well, we adopted from that. We call ourselves, it's funny now, but I still refer back to this when stuff goes tough, man. We call ourselves the cucarachas. We were the cockroaches. Like, we were going to be the ones that survived nuclear war. We were just like, you know what? We're just not going to quit. Like, it's as bad as it can get right now. Yeah. We're just going to keep going. And we learned that we went and talked to all of our clients. We talked to all of our vendors. We told them, hey, we're in bad situation, yada, yada. Like, give us some time. Let us work it off. Let us try and catch back up. And we did, and we survived, right?
Wait, and I think there's an important note in that. And that goes to show like how much of a mental game it is, right? So I think that the tale of a true entrepreneur is you don't see roadblocks. And what I mean by that is most people would have said, well, damn, we don't have money to pay our vendors, et cetera, et cetera. This is my situation. I have to shut down.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah.
You didn't say that though. Immediately it was to go to your vendors and say, instead of if we should keep going, how can we make this work?
Yeah.
Here's our situation. What do we need to do to keep this relationship? That simple attack on life is what I believe got you here today.
Yeah, and I will say, just because I want to give everybody hope out there, no matter how you're feeling, is I had days when that happened where I literally thought I was going to die. I mean, I was like, take me to the hospital, like I'm having a heart attack right now because I had so much stress and anxiety. But I think a really important lesson from that is that I decided to be a person who could get through it. I made the decision.
Yeah.
And your emotions can take so much control over you and how you're feeling, all that type of stuff if you let them, right? And to be able to kind of step outside of that and go, wait. If I'm going to be the guy that I want to be 25 years from now, I've got to be able to handle situations like this and do it without freaking out, right?
I have a question. What's the balance for you? Would you say success is dependent upon mental versus actual having the skills? What do you think that is? Is it what's that balance? What percentage is each?
Gosh, I don't know. That's a tough question. I think that there is. I think that it's a little bit too easy in this entrepreneur culture that we have right now, where entrepreneurship is hot right now. It's sexy, right? Yeah. I think it's a little too easy to say it's all about like having the right attitude and just hustling. You got to invest in getting good at something, like you said earlier. Like you've got to learn, you've got to educate yourself. There's so much competition out there, right? That you've got to invest in your skills too. So I don't know what the breakdown is, but that's a big part of it.
And then going with kind of like my first 6 months in business, which had nothing to do with digital marketing, by the way, it was an oil change company, right? And I mentioned this before to everyone, if you've been rocking with us for a while, you know I'm passionate about this. But business is not easy. And everyone says, okay, yeah, we know that, but you don't know that. When I talk to people who are first starting off in their career, and I know because I was one of them, you're arrogant and you're ignorant. And you believe that just because you saw something on Shark Tank and it looks very simple, that, oh my gosh, this person created an app and now they're a billionaire. People, do you ever guys hear people talk like that? Oh, I just created an app and all he did was create an app and he's a billionaire. Like, guys, it just shows your level of where you're playing. But business, here's a skill for you. Treat business just like any other professional treats their profession. The doctor who's taking 12 years before they touch a human patient. The attorney who's passing the bar and going 6 years deep. But yet, here's the business owner. 2 months and they want to fucking quit. If you're that person, I'm talking to you, but in a good way, right? You come to me because I keep it real. Just saying.
Yeah.
What questions you guys got?
I think I'm going to add on that. Well, you find a question. I'm just going to add on to it that I think that if you said, hey, what's the most important thing that I can do in my first 6 months in business, is that I think it's so critical that people figure out what is the X factor for your business, and you put 80%, 90% of your energy into that, and everything else comes after that. And that's, we had this client in Boston, these two guys that we tell this story all the time. We call it our Harvard guys. They called us up because they wanted IT services. They said, hey, we're going to need, set up for 35 employees, blah, blah, blah. And I said, great, when can I come over and meet you? And he's like, well, anytime after 5. I'm like, after 5? Like in Boston, that's when we shut down and we go to the pub. Like, what do you mean, right? He's like, anytime after 5. I'm like, okay. So I go over there right at 5, and I go into their office in a really nice office building in Boston, and it's 2 guys. And I'm like, well, where's all the 35 people that we're outfitting for IT? And they're like, well, we don't have them yet, but we're going to need them. And their mindset was, we're going to fill this office real fast. We need to get ready. And these were 2 Harvard MBAs. And you know what they were doing? Was from 8 o'clock in the morning to 5 o'clock at night, they were sitting there just cold calling. 2 Harvard MBAs doing nothing but sitting there cold calling. And they knew that's because sales was the X factor. Nothing else mattered until they got revenue coming in. And they determined that the way that they were going to get revenue was cold calling. And so that was it. They're sitting down and they're just going to call all day, every damn day, until they had enough momentum to worry about all the other stuff. And that's the thing. I talk to so many people right now, or over the last several years of doing kind of the marketing and coaching and stuff like that. And it's like, well, my business isn't growing and I'm struggling. And I'm like, well, tell me what you're doing. How many prospects did you talk to this week? Yeah, goose egg or 3 or something like that. And it's like, dude, that's never going to work. I mean, get that number over 100.
And just to chime in exactly what you're saying, because I'm freaking feeling your vibe right now, what Mike's getting at is this. It's a very simple truth. Is, especially in those first couple of years, I think, we create a lot of problems that don't necessarily need to be there, right? Or we focus on things that really aren't going, they're just distractions, right? Someone put it up on their Facebook the other day, said there's a difference between being busy and being productive. Right. A lot of people just make themselves busy to feel better about the truth. And the truth is this, is you're unwilling to do the things necessary to grow your business. Going out and prospecting, pick up the phone and calling, and actually actively going to sell shit, for most people is uncomfortable, and you're unwilling to be uncomfortable. Therefore, you won't do the necessary things to make your business grow. And if that's the truth, you have two options: fucking quit, or find somebody who's willing to do those things and like him and get a partner. That's your only options. Or 3, get over it.
Yep.
That's it.
Yeah, it's absolutely true. It's absolutely true.
Okay, so we have 2 things going on here, and really fast, you guys. If this is helpful, if you're feeling this, share it, damn it. Just sit there. It's free. Just share it.
Spread the love.
Share it, or you're a bad person.
You hate puppies.
You hate puppies. All of them, and cats, because Rena has a cat, and she's sitting right there. Means you hate cats if you don't share this. So something interesting is happening right now, Mike, and we can, you don't have to stay for this. So Mike did just kind of stop by driving. Come by right now. But right now, we have a lined up, and this is completely true, and this is unscripted or anything like that, so I'm actually asking, I'm putting Mike on the spot. But downstairs right now, we have, what time is it? Is it downstairs?
Yeah, it's 4:35.
Oh, yeah, you're late.
Oh, there's like 5 fuckers here right now who are interviewing for a job here, right? And it's to be a videographer. And so Paul does our thing, but as Mike and I are talking about, like, and being an implementer, is I believe in content so much. Like, look at the difference between like someone and a Gary Vee. What's the number one difference? Content. They have more, right? And to create that, like, I would be a fool, Mike would be a fool if we're not investing heavy into content for whatever that means. So I'm bringing up, you know, another videographer so that we can produce more content, right? Sometimes there's a daily show we want to put out. Sometimes there's a live stream. Sometimes there's taking up like talks or something and just chopping it up into many pieces of content to put on other platforms. What I'm learning is that that's a job. And I know Mike has some projects he's working on where it's all about content. Like, dude, how many writers do you work with sometimes?
Yeah, we've got about a dozen now in our regular.
A dozen. That's how he's reaching people. Content matters.
Yeah. It's pretty funny because we have like this stable of content producers now for this business we're building, and it's so funny. You know, 3 months ago we didn't have any of that. You got to jump right into it.
Exactly. So season of business, but business is changing so much. This is a new thing. Like, I didn't plan on like needing like as a real job, a real career. You need video people to succeed. It's a part of business. It will be taught in schools. So anyways, those guys are here right now. Someone downstairs. If you want to bring them up, I'm going to interview them on the spot. Make sure they're, actually before you bring them up, and why I close out with Mike, make sure you guys are mic'd up. Don't fucking come here, waste people's time, not be prepared. So make sure they're mic'd up. Rhea has it on the smartboard there for videos if we need to show up. This is happening right now. We're going to interview 5 people. I've never met any of them before. They've never met each other, and it's going to be group interviews.
I hope these poor fools know what they're getting into.
I don't know if they do.
Hey, speaking of content, by the way, I'm just going to put a shameless plug in here for my man Billie Jean. You guys are releasing
Clicks into Customers 2.0.
Clicks into Customers 2.0 soon. I have been lucky enough to get a little inside peek, just a little inside peek. And I can say that the quality of the content is off the charts, game-changing stuff as usual. You can't go better than this guy and his team on this stuff. So tune in, people.
And I will throw on this piece of hot sauce. All of it is based off of stuff that we actually do, period. There's a big difference than all the solopreneurs out there who swear they're a Facebook ads coach, da-da-da. In the trenches, real agency, made the cold calls, ran the ads, had inquiries, worked with the companies that you want to work with, done it and currently doing it, period. And we have a community of marketers who are also doing it. So what we're able to see in regards to practical stuff that's working to make a direct impact on your business,
it's awesome.
I'm just saying. Now, do you want to stay for the interview at all? Do you want to?
No, I got to go. Speaking of content, I got to get back to the office and get some stuff done, man.
Well, dude, thank you for coming on.
Absolutely.
Appreciate it.
Awesome.
It's been awesome.
It was great.
Yeah, always.
Incredible team.
You guys, and
place.
make sure you're follow. Where can they just follow Mike Cooch if they just want more insights, more content from Mike?
Good. Yeah, if they want more content, business-related content, local sales lab. We're about to launch our digital marketing lab brand. So localsaleslab.com. So that's a good spot to go to.
Cool.
You can Facebook, all that good stuff. I'm around.
It's a good man right there. Mike Cooch, dude, thanks for coming in.
Absolutely, man.
I'm still in your mic at this point.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
You sure you don't want to abuse some kids?
I gotta go.
Come on in, video people.